So, Soldier's been a pick that's been really good for, like, ever. A really good character of the main, and overall one that you see a lot of amazing play as, and today we're going to watch KRUISE do exactly that. Now, before we get started, if you have any certain tips that you actually have about this character that you want to share with other people, please do leave that in the comments. I want everyone to try to get as good as possible with these characters, and I feel like there's, going to be, of course, a lot of stuff that I do miss. Anyways, let's just get straight into the gameplay itself. One thing that I want to mention about this game that I think is really important is that he's actually playing without a shield. There's no Reinhardt, there's no Orisa, no anything. So when that does happen, you need to play far back, you need to get that high ground, and just try to live for as long as humanly possible, and that's really it. In teamfights, we see right here, starting it off, he just generally plays pretty far away, tries to get damage on the enemy, but never really risks his life. I could see a lot of people right here, I'm thinking I'm probably going to hit a lot more shots if I get a bit closer, which is probably true. But he's playing far away, he's playing safe, and he lived almost until the end. Unfortunately, he gets picked off right there, but overall it worked quite well for him, and he got a ton of damage out really safely. One thing that we also saw a second earlier, and that you're going to be seeing him do quite a bit this game, is actually target the Farah first. The enemy team does have a Farah Mercy, which is very oppressive, very hard to deal with, and you can't really kill way too much without your ultimate. But in a lot of cases, since he has another hit scan, that being McCree, they both target the Farah. She's a lot slower, has a bigger hitbox, overall just quite a bit easier to hit and can't run away as easily. And then if you kill her, you bait the Mercy to use a res, or bait the Mercy to come down to where she died, or then you can try to kill her, or at least you're using a res from the Mercy. So overall, no matter what, it's a pretty good situation for you. If you are the solo DPS though, or if you have your ultimate up, of course, always go for the Mercy. But there is a lot of situations where you can actually go for, the other characters, the Farah. Right here is a great spot that he's actually in. I think most people would probably push up a bit further, and he eventually does when his team starts winning a bit. But you can see just how far back KRUISE was playing. And of course, right there, he's focusing again on the Farah, making sure that she can't flank his team. That's a good thing you should probably try to go for. One thing as far as his aim goes, in order to shoot a little bit more accurately, of course, get better at aiming, that's obvious. But as well, do put a little bit of breaks in between your shots. Even when he's just trying to shoot people at like a medium close range, he actually puts some breaks in between his shots. I know that, when you're trying to snipe, almost everybody does that, but even at like medium close range, he does that. Of course, when they're further away, he puts more breaks than when they're closer, but that's something you might want to keep in mind. If they're really, really like 1 inch away from you, you don't have to do that, but in any other situation, you're seeing him put a few breaks in, it makes so he hits more shots, and even though it does lower his overall DPS by a little bit, especially against, like shields, you don't want to do that. It does make so he does get just a lot more effective damage and a lot more effective picks. Right now during this game, they actually have a Widow now, trying to counter out the Soldier. It works pretty well if you play wrong. If you start to play over, really open areas like you normally do a Soldier, you're going to start dying. Once they pick a Widow, you got to play a lot more around corners, probably a lot closer to your team, or a lot more behind the barriers if your team has a barrier, but obviously it doesn't really happen this game, so KRUISE just has to play around corners and try not to get picked while he does a lot of damage. Of course, Soldier does a lot more damage per second than Widow, can take engagements a lot quicker, but you just really have to make sure that you're standing in a position where you are not going to die. That's kind of how it just works. Right here, the team's winning the team fight again, so it goes in pretty close. One thing that's also nice about getting in close is that it makes so that your rocket can essentially never miss. You can actually sometimes, and you see him do this a few times, run up close, go for a super close burst kill with your front line, and then instantly run away. I'm not sure exactly when we're going to see that, but we're seeing that a few times during this game. Even right here, he's running up close, making sure that he's going to hit that damage, and then he runs away a little bit, then he gets close again, runs away. He kind of goes in and out all the time, and it's not always while using his shift or while using his actual run. He just simply walks in and out while taking shots at them. So there you go. That's kind of how that works. I guess during extended fights, he's for the most part, trying to take out that Mercy. But a lot of the times he's actually just going after the very easy to hit tank hitbox, especially if they have something like, a Winston or mainly a Zarya that has a little bit less HP. You can strike through that really quickly if he wastes his bubble somewhere else, and that's going to help in a lot of cases more than just getting, half the health of one of the enemy supports that's super far away. So that's kind of nice. Right here, they're finishing off this fight, try to take out whoever they can. They get the Zarya. I think he gets that guy in the back line or whatever. He's again in this position where he has a huge amount of area of line of sight. That's probably why you want to push the Soldier on the left half of this map, and wherever, you pretty much just want to make sure that you're staying at the biggest line of sight areas that also kind of have some walls. Just don't play around in the right half of this area or the right half of this map, as you just kind of get bursted by a lot of crap. Finally finishing off on this point, of course, he uses ultimate. As far as, when to use your ultimate, essentially, if you can get at least 1 kill on a DPS at the start of the fight, your ultimate is worthwhile. Or 1 kill on the Mercy or the support. it's a worthwhile ultimate. You don't have to try to use it for a team, like a team fight or a team wipe. If you can just do it at the beginning of a fight, you're often going to get your damage out, you're going to get your pick off, and then you can kind of help your team with the rest of the ultimate, even if it won't, kill everybody at the same time. So yeah, there you go with that. And when he is ulting, he usually moves in quite a bit more. He gets quite a bit closer so that, when he maybe finishes off his target or when they try to run around walls, he can follow them up. He just overall plays a little bit less safe when ulting, which I guess you could say is a mistake, but I don't really think it is, because obviously it's working for him in this game. You just kind of have to play a bit more risky while doing that. It's at least, what he, for the most part, tries to do. And probably because if you are ulting, you're going to pretty much out DPS any of the other DPS in the game. So you shouldn't be way too afraid. During this map, again, we do see triple DPS. Not the best for Soldier, I think. I feel like it works okay because you can just hide around, the long edges. You can flank around. You can do everything like that and get your consistent damage without way too much of a hassle. But it still is kind of hard. So for the most part, what you're seeing him do is push around on the side, just pumping damage into the enemy tanks. And, when he has the opportunity to get a pick, he goes for it. But for the most part, just pumping in a lot of damage into the enemy tanks so that his teammates don't have to be way too afraid of them. His team does also have one tank. I think the enemy team has one tank. A little bit awkward. The high elo games right now, there's just, pretty much 3 DPS, one tank every single game. It's just how the game's balanced, and you just kind of have to get used to it. But obviously, it does work if you can get used to it. During this game, they have a Roadhog that's, not way too hard to deal with a soldier. Just stay really far away. If he does run up right next to you, of course, just run away. Make sure you don't die. And it shouldn't be way too hard for you as this character. Right now, we see a Wombo combo just completely destroy everybody. And I think there's another Wombo combo in a little while. When that does happen, a soldier, you shouldn't really always be trying to, run up, finish off those kills yourself. You should be trying to stay at a far, safe distance, poke off for the kills, make sure that you don't get picked somehow during the combo, and so that you can protect against flankers. Because oftentimes your team gets a Wombo combo, but then maybe 2 of them's alive, they get a nano boosted Genji, and he just ults and just wipes your team. And if you could have gotten that Genji to like half HP or even killed him, you could have protected your team. So kind of think about it like that when you're using your ultimates with your team. It's a pretty good idea to not try to, just waste it, I guess. Especially when there's Wombo combos going on. Just play a little bit more safe. And that's generally how KRUISE just plays. He plays very safe, very smart, very far in the back. This map doesn't have way too much high ground. I guess he could go behind him to the high ground, but for the most part, while it is extremely important as this character, his team is pushing up so much that he couldn't really effectively use it. And that's kind of what you have to think. If your team's pushing up too far that your high ground just isn't allowing you to even shoot the enemies, don't use it. Just go next to your teammates, flank around, play kind of like that. Soldier can actually flank quite a bit better than I feel like most people think he can, because his DPS is just insane. And if you can get the rocket and a melee in, you can just bomb straight through people. A second ago, we also saw that the Soldier and the Lucio, Lucio ulted, and then he went in. KRUISE got a damage out. I think KRUISE also killed the Junkrat. If you do have something like a Lucio ult, just take the kill, honestly. Just go in, and you don't have to be way too afraid for at least a little bit. I'd say, just go ham for like 1 second, go for that rocket, try to one-pop people, try to go for those headshots, play risky, and then once it gets to like, 10 shield left, dip out of there. Do not risk it like that. But yeah, if you do have a Lucio ult, you can just go in. In a lot of cases, you can just go in with a lot of support ults. With the Moira ult, you can go in pretty easily, and with the Zenyatta ult, you can also go in pretty easily, and even with the Mercy ult, you can go in. And I feel like you do have to kind of learn when to go in, because a soldier, while you can play in the backline all the time, and while that is a good idea, you're missing a lot of opportunities that you could have gotten if you went in a little bit more. A lot of kills that you could have gotten, a lot of carry potential that you're just kind of leaving out. You're not really throwing the game, but there's just a little bit more you could do, and that's kind of how it is a soldier in the current meta. Anyways, I feel like this was a really good game to just kind of learn how he plays on King of the Hill. I feel like most people have kind of a good understanding of how to do it, but I think most people just kind of stay too far back all of the time, and while it does makes you have okay presence in the team fight, you could do a little bit more. Sorry about that. My dogs are just, having a gander of fun right now. One final thing that I want to talk about before we end is that the way he used his rocket was, of course, to get kills, but as well, he often used his rocket to force people away from certain objectives and used it to trap people to get shot by the McCree or by himself. So that's something else you can try to go for. Stops a lot of people, and of course, you can also see him fiddling with his settings. And as always, if you're playing this character, if you're playing any hit scan, do make sure that you have very low sensitivity, like you have 800 DPI with like 2 to 4 in-game sensitivity. You want it to be low, you want it to be pinpoint. Certain characters you can kind of play without that, but as this character, it is an important thing to go for. Anyways, as always, guys, thank you all for watching. That's all I'm going to say about KRUISE. I think he did really well, but I guess you can leave your own comments in the comments section below. If you have your own different opinions or tips about this character as well, I said at the beginning of the video, please make sure to leave that down in the comment section down below. Hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this one in the future. And as always, guys, thank you all for watching, and have a wonderful day.